And action. Welcome to an action packed episode of the Action Podcast. Today, we've got a slate of films. The number one film we'll be reviewing is Snow White, the remake, of course, of the animated film. Second, we have Novocaine, starring Jack Quaid. Third, we have Black Box, new film directed by Steven Soderbergh and starring Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett.
Soderbergh, no?
Steve Soderbergh?
There
Sure.
you go.
I've heard it both ways, but yeah. Steven Soderbergh. Four, we have Electric State, directed by the Russo Brothers and starring Millie Bobby Brown and
Hmm.
Chris Pratt. Five, we have Alto Knights. This is made by the guys that made Goodfellas and starring Robert De Niro, who stars in two different roles. Six is in the Lost Lands, starring Dave Bautista.
Hmm.
Seven is Magazine Dreams, starring Jonathan Majors. Eight, we have Ash, starring Isaac Gonzalez. And lastly, Pete's going to give his take on Last Breath. So, with that, Pete, let's get into Snow White. Before we get into it, let me do. I'm going to say a couple different things just to.
Let's share the abysmal numbers. Go ahead.
So, the IMDb ranking right now is 1.6, which is literally one of the lowest of all time. I'm going to explain that though. And then box office wise, this had a budget of, I believe, 250 million. So far, it's only grossed 94 million worldwide. So obviously not to a good start. Now, let me explain the 1.4 IMDb ranking. So the main actress, Rachel Zegler, I forgot what she was talking about, but ultimately she went political and immediately divided her audience. And so they, of course, rallied and they have rallied hard and has not helped this movie. And I believe they even kind of bickered because Gal Gadot is Israeli and she might have went with a Palestine thing, whatever. Either way, guys, this is a very clear lesson of when you're in the movie business, try and stay away from politics because it ruins your bottom line. Um,
Well, it divides your audience. I mean,
divides
just
your
like you
audience.
said, I mean, that's just like not the smart move. I heard that they actually let her go, and they said that you will never work for Disney ever again after this film.
Maybe.
And
I mean,
I think that's just a rumor. I don't have anything to substantiate it,
yeah.
but that's what I've heard.
This does have a 50 Metascore though, which is probably a more accurate, I think, representation of this film. 50 is I think, average.
Yeah, but
Uh,
that means the kids like it and the parents don't.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. Do you want me to go first, Pete, on this one, or do you want to go first?
I mean, as you like.
Okay.
It's not going to be good either way, I think.
I have actually a different take, Pete. So,
Oh, good.
it's very clear when going into this movie, I didn't really have a desire to see this. Every Disney remake has just not been. I think there has been like a real positive reason to make it. Like either it's not been that long since the originals came out, or they're very similar to the film, and there's no real creativity added to this. And so my mindset going into it was honestly not looking forward to it. Um, However, I watched it, and after kind of getting over like the CGI dwarfs, which I wasn't necessarily a fan of either. They
Hmm.
started to grow on me, and then I
I
just
thought that they were the most positive aspect of this
well
film.
that's
I thought visually they looked quite stunning, and they
oh
should
visually yes
because Disney, I mean, they should be able to pull off a full CGI, full facial
yeah
uh,
that was
expressive character.
this reminded me a little bit of like the Sonic the Hedgehog kind of thing, where initially there was a little bit of a backlash, but then overall Sonic overcame that, and I kind of feel the same
Sonic's
way.
crushing.
Yeah. And so honestly, and then the song started coming on, and then the reality is I didn't really remember like the original one, and so but then when Hi Ho comes and you see the dwarfs, I kind of liked how that was shot, and honestly, I ended up kind of enjoying the movie, and I again kind of a shocker, and then I actually rewatched the original, and I actually think this they did do a good job of like this one actually felt like okay, the old one definitely remember the old one was 1937. The old one was short and the story was like whatever actually. Like the
Yeah, but
story.
the in the old one, the guy actually had to like fight off like a big giant dragon, basically, no? Or am I
Yeah.
thinking of Sleeping Beauty?
No, that might be Sleeping Beauty. There's no dragon, but
Hmm.
he
Okay.
but it was Prince Charming
Maybe
did
that's
have
why I hated it so
yeah
much. Because I thought it was Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty. I was like,
Sleeping Beauty. Yeah,
this is
that sounds like
this is
Sleeping Beauty.
that's not the
Um,
story.
no, because in this one, spoiler alert
Spoiler
for
alert!
anybody. In this one, this one they changed the ending to make it more of her ending because in the original, the whole point that she wanted to be is like, I just want to meet a man someday, and it's like it is weak. Like to be honest, like that's obviously times have evolved and all that good stuff. And so I do think overall this was a better story. There is a little, she's deeper as a person. In this one, they changed it to she wants to find her father, which is obviously because the stepmom overtook it. So they added a whole kind of intro scene, which was not in the original. It was just the first page. And then they went into the movie and then they kind of altered the ending. And so overall, I liked it. I actually, honestly, I like this more
Well, I
than
mean,
Pete.
it's the
Are you ready for
old
a hot
Disney
take?
versus new Disney. The old Disney model is, the princess is always looking for a prince. And
Yeah.
then the new Disney model, thanks to the likes of like Barbie, etc.,
Yeah.
it's I'm a queen who doesn't need a king. It's
Yeah.
there's a massive shift in mentality for this whole thing.
Well, I
Um,
wouldn't
I,
worry. I wouldn't worry. I don't need a king. It's more of again. It went from need to want. I want a king. I don't need a king. And those are two.
no, but the early days there was a connotation to it that said if I want to have a prince and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
if I want to have a prince, then I'm going to then be second fiddle to whatever. I think that this film, what it did was it showed that they're doing the new Disney model, which is I'm still going to be the queen. I'm the rightful heir of this kingdom, and I'm going to take it back. And
Yeah.
I just happen to have a guy who I like, but he's not going to rule. I'm ruling,
Right. Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So that's the shift in Disney mentality in terms of how women are viewing sort of that top tier.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Anyways,
again,
go ahead.
I don't think that's a bad thing. Again, the original one, the
Of course
story.
not. That's what I teach my daughter every day.
Yeah, the original one, the story really is not that great. However, it did win Best Picture, I believe, which is crazy. But um,
Sure, because it was the first animated movie ever.
yeah. But here's my hot take, Pete. I hope you're ready for this. You ready for a hot take?
Go ahead. Can't be
I
good.
I actually like this movie better than I liked Wicked.
Well,
And
I don't know. I never saw Wicked.
oh, really? And one of the main
No.
reasons, Pete, is because this is not 3 hours long with a million songs about everything. I thought for the
Yeah,
most
there's
part,
only 500,000 songs in this movie.
I thought for the most part, I mean, there's probably a song or two that I didn't like, which is typical. But for the most part, they're either the original songs or there's a new song, but it has at least a message to it versus like I'm cleaning dishes like Wicked had.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the whole purpose of Disney songs and in all of their films is to, you know, progress time so that it's like a minute and a half, but you get to know a whole bunch of stuff so that
Yeah.
you can progress through the story. Um, the majority of the songs in this were not that at all.
I thought the
I didn't.
first song was that.
Well, the first song came within 30 seconds of me pushing start on this screener that I got,
Yeah.
and it was literally like, oh boy, okay, we're only 30 seconds in and we're already singing. Just tell me the story of
That's
the
that's how
king
the
and
original
queen and the
but that's how the
daughter.
original is.
No, but I mean, it's every 2 seconds there's a song where everybody else around them, they even tried to joke at one point where, the two lovers are like singing and then everyone's watching them sing and it's a moment and I get it. I got to be honest. The problem with this movie is the problem with every single Disney live action remake out there, and that is that there's no real original takes on it. And I know what you just said, but
Yeah.
it just doesn't hold any value. I mean, what they did to this Snow White versus the original, there's no value to it. And so, unfortunately, politics aside, this just was not a good movie. The songs were mediocre at best. There was no heart
I would agree with that.
in them. There was no real heart in the new story that they were trying to tell, other than, and don't even get me started on Gal Gadot. I mean, no offense, I like her and I think that she's fantastic. She was awful as the queen. Her songs were the worst songs and the least passionate songs I think I've ever heard in a musical before.
Yeah.
She was really bad, and it's not her fault. They asked her to do something and she could not pull it off at
Yeah.
all.
Well,
I
and I
did
think,
not like her character. I didn't like how she performed the character. I didn't like the music that was attached to her character. This movie was, other than what I saw visually coming from the animation world, from the dwarfs and their faces and how they were so expressive.
yeah.
Um, and that was incredible. Other than that, there was zero out of this movie that I got. Kids are gonna love it. They will. They'll
Yeah.
watch it and they'll because they have no frame of reference to what Disney storytelling is supposed to be all about. And this movie was not even close to
I,
that at all.
I would remove the Disney part and just say storytelling in general. Like I think again, the original the original one. So you kind of said it. Like what made the new Willy Wonka so great was the characters, and I think Willy Wonka is a good one. Let's throw Disney out the window and let's just talk about
But
uh,
they're the pinnacle. You can't just throw them out.
no, but just listen to my point.
All right,
Don't
go on.
um, when you're talking about a successful remake and why a movie like Willy Wonka is successful versus this one, which is not as successful. Willy Wonka had new songs. It was still combining the original, but it was a new story with but all the characters they added nuances to them and there was depth to them versus like you're saying like the queen she's jealous. That's her only motivation. Like there was no we didn't know really why she was so hell-bent just because she wanted to be the fairest and all that's great, but that's not deep, right? And again,
No, it's
and the songs, like you're saying, the original ones obviously are catchy. That's why we love them. We remember them. But the new ones weren't catchy, and they weren't like again like in Willy Wonka. Some of the new songs, like man, I was singing them, leaving the theater. You know what I mean? And that's the difference between this and
because
like again like a Wonka.
But with Wonka, I mean, there's a difference between, copying and showing homage and being creative.
Yeah,
Wonka showed what you can do with a prequel or even a sequel if they decided to do what happens after Charlie Bucket. I think they
yeah,
would have pulled it off just as magically. They actually had, real substance. They had a story to tell, and they also showed tribute to the
yeah.
most iconic thing that we've ever seen. Snow White is one of the more iconic Disney properties in the world. I understand, like, a Lion King remake or The Little Mermaid, which is a little bit more recent in terms of Disney history, but Snow White is the pinnacle. This is the number one
Yeah,
movie out of Disney. This is the first one that they ever decided they were going to make a full-length feature film.
yeah.
This is not something that they should have taken so lightly. And the fact that this is what they put out, it's it's an outrage.
Ah,
Snow White is the greatest Disney movie ever because it took Walt Disney
but
from
have
oh
you
my
rewatched it or
God
no?
to oh my God.
Sure. Have you rewatched it though?
Of course I've rewatched it.
Like again, first of all
Of course we don't live in 1938
sure.
United States. We'd have no frame of reference other than the fact that it's the number one movie
Sure.
out of Disney that ever did so. It's equivalent to Toy Story. because Toy Story was the first CG animated, full
Sure.
CG animated thing. Toy Story was a big deal. Snow White was a big deal because it was
Yeah.
the first animated feature film of all time.
I get it, but I still think you're missing the actual reason why. And I just said it, but
It
what
doesn't matter. What
it,
matters is
it
the
does.
iconic nature of Snow
Sure.
White. And
But
the fact that you put out this film is an outrage.
I don't think it was an outrage. I think that's too strong. And
It's
again,
really bad.
I'd like to, obviously we're two people, we're two males, over 40. Like we're not necessarily the
I'm
demographic.
a male who teaches my daughter every single day the
Oh, I know.
lessons that
But
Snow
but
White
again,
in this
the
version
reason why I want the audience to
proves.
understand. I think the reason why to kind of reiterate your point, I think the real reason and what they should have spent more time on is the newer music. And I think coming out of it, like for,
No, the villain. They should have spent more time on the villain and
no,
made
I
the
agree. No,
villain
no, I agree with you.
Darth Vader because the villain in this movie was garbage.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think that's a good point. And again, also with along with that, the villain definitely I agree with 1,000,000%. And then again, this needs to come out with one original new song that's a hit. Like remember back in the day,
Like, let
I
it
don't know if
go.
those, yeah, exactly.
Give me a let it go.
Yeah, you need one on that level, and
The
they're
music
like
was
you're saying,
so uninspiring.
yeah.
It was like bad. I
I did
agree
like
with
what
the
they did with
1.6.
I
I
did
might
like
have given it a 2,
no,
to
I
be
don't.
fair.
No, I think it's a 6.5. Um,
No
I,
way.
I liked what they did with the Hi Ho.
Hold on a second. Look up all of the movies that have a 6.5 on IMDb, and there's no way that this movie compares to any of those movies. Because there are some really great movies that are
No, you're right.
6.5s.
Maybe a six. Maybe a six.
Dude,
Um,
it's not even a 6.
the one thing I did like what they did too with the dwarves, again, like the high their introduction scene, they added a different element to the song. So I didn't realize this either. It they added so in the original it's hi ho or from work to home we go, but they added like the beginning part to it, and then there's the middle scene, then there's the end. I actually kind of like that. Again, there's some decisions here that I liked, and I appreciate it more after rewatching the original because then I was like, oh, okay, this is different. Oh, this is different. And so again, there's some things I thought they did well, but again, to your ultimate point, villain not strong enough, and I think
There's just no added value, and that's the point.
and the
Why
native
remake
thing that
something
it's
if you're not going to add value?
yeah,
This is just a money grab, and this is the state of the industry right now where nobody wants to do anything new. They just want to grab stuff that's old, and that's the only thing they're putting money into. I mean, we've
yeah,
seen it for the
it's
past 3 years,
very
and we're going
sick.
to see it for the next year, and then maybe in 2026, because people said 2025 to, survive to 25. It's not getting any better, at least not in terms of sales. So maybe 2026, people are going to start opening up their brains and understanding that we need new IP.
Yeah. Well, and again, and people also have to go see new IP. Remember, we talked about this in another podcast, but
So do something good.
well, it's two parts, right? It's the film, it's the studios, and then the audience though need to see go see the original content. There was a movie we saw that nobody went to see, and it's like that's why they're not going to make those because there was a 75
Right,
million
but remember what happened with audiences when Barbie and Oppenheimer came out simultaneously, and what happened to the industry? That the industry exploded at that moment because there was two phenomenal movies that
yeah,
came out at the same time, almost as a competition, and it was a big joke. Like all the actors were like, "Oh, we're the best. No, we're the best. Give us good content."
yeah, for sure.
Period.
It already succeeded.
Audiences will go to a theater if the content is good. This
Yeah,
movie's not good. It's
yeah.
not good content. It's just not.
Okay, next we have Novocaine. This movie stars Jack Quaid and Amber Midthunder. This right now this has a 6.8 on IMDb, which is really good. And had a 60 Metascore. So it's done pretty decent. Money wise, budget 18 million. It's already grossed 22 million. So, um, Pete, do you want to go first on this one or do you want me to go?
Sure. Yeah, no, I'll go first on this one. I think I saw one advertisement at a bus stop for this movie, and it looked like almost like a like the Operation board game. It looked like that, like as a
Yeah.
display. And I was like, all right, well, that's interesting. And then I saw that the score was quite high. Um, I found myself intrigued through this whole movie. Like I enjoyed the journey. I thought it was well performed. I thought it was really well written. Um, I mean, Jack Quaid, I don't really know what he's done necessarily, but he's one of these guys that just looks familiar to you. Um, let me. Oh, he was in the Hunger Games.
Hunger
Okay,
Games.
yeah, he was in Logan Lucky, which nobody talks about, but I remember him from that movie as well. But yeah, so basically, this film, this guy Novocaine, that's his nickname. He can't feel like he's got some condition. He can't like really feel sort of any pain at all. And the girl that he likes that works at the bank with him ends up getting kidnapped by these bank robbers. And in order to save her, he goes on this sort of mission to get her back, basically. He wants no involvement in anything, and yet he's now involved. And I won't spoil it, but like it it doesn't pull back like some of the torturous scenes that this guy has to go through as a character. It was really funny, clever, a great ride the entire time. I would recommend this movie 50 times higher than Snow White.
Yeah, this is like you're saying, this is a fun movie. I think that's a good way
Super fun.
to put it. Not a movie to take too seriously. Um,
Not at all.
yeah, I mean, and it is exactly what you think it is. But I think I think where this character kind of really works is just he is very relatable and you know kind of has like a bad day type thing and this girl is the one thing going for him and so that kind of makes him go in one direction. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't need to you kind of nailed everything. I don't really need to add much to it, but I'd agree. I think definitely go see this. It's a fun movie.
It's a good watch. I mean, in
Yeah.
this day and age where people don't want to go to the theaters, like this was one movie that is a good time
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
all right, next we have Black Bag. This is a CIA kind of spy thriller starring Michael Fassbender, Cate Blanchett. Tr- Trying to see if you know anybody else. Pierce Brosnan is the other big name. Uh, uh, Steven Soderbergh directed it. It was written by David Koepp. They had worked together on Presence, and then like, David Koepp is literally one of the best writers out there. Jurassic Park, the original Mission Impossible, um, Indiana Jones, and the Dial of Destiny. I mean, this guy has a very, very nice career.
Right.
I want to say, this guy also wrote, oh, he also wrote Toy Soldiers, one of our favorite
Oh,
movies.
David Koepp?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Toy Soldiers is
Uh,
the best.
yeah, this got a 7.3 on IMDb, uh, 85 Metascore, so this is definitely a critical darling. But yeah, this budget 50, it's only grossed 25, so that's the only disappointing part about this movie. But this is a good movie. I don't think this is on the level of Ocean's 11 where it's like you're blown away, but I still think it's very good and it's entertaining and you're very curious on kind of like where how the movie unwinds and definitely plays up a lot of intrigue and all that good stuff. So I definitely recommend this movie. Again, a good time. Um, Kind of, definitely kind of a like a who done it, if you will, but in a spy thriller type of
Well, I mean, people who in the past like week or two have, whenever they've talked about something, they've mentioned this movie, and I'm really disappointed I haven't seen it yet. I just
yeah,
haven't had an opportunity. But people love this film,
yeah.
and that's from the streets, Paul. The streets love this film,
Streets love this one, and the critics apparently. So,
and the critics.
all right, next we have Electric State. This is on Netflix now streaming. This is directed by the Russo brothers and starring Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt. Pete, you can go ahead and start on this one.
So yeah, thank God this is a streaming film because I mean it was good as a streaming film. I can see what they were trying to do. I can see where they're going with it because there's going to be probably more. They've set it up as such.
Yeah.
Um, However, I think that if I may critique, Chris Pratt's character did not need to be in this movie on any sort of level. Like if they would have taken him out and just played the movie as such, I think we would have arrived at the same point. I think, they brought in Chris Pratt just for, you know, trying to bring in numbers to this film.
Yeah.
He wasn't needed even a little bit. He never contributed really anything to the film. I mean, he had a couple funny lines or whatever, but this was all Millie Bobby Brown all the time,
It was excellent.
and who's fantastic. And then, you know, the CG work was really quite good as well. Um, and it was just one of those fun kind of movies that I feel like, I mean, maybe somebody would have, like back in 77, would have had the same sort of review for like a Star Wars. And I'm not saying that this is like the beginning of like a Star Wars franchise. However, I can see somebody on the outskirts who have no idea about this film before I watched it. I have no idea if there was like history or comics or whatever is attached to this sort of film. But I can see somebody like back in the day being like, yeah, it was, Harrison Ford is an up and coming guy. He was kind of funny, but like kind of cool and a lot of great characters and whatever. And like, maybe somebody wasn't needed in the film originally, but I had the same sort of vibe for this. I feel like this is going to be something big later on, but this was a good first attempt at this new IP, which is pretty rare nowadays.
Yeah, yeah, this is a graphic novel from
Ah,
2017.
okay, thank you. I didn't know that. So then, okay, good. So then it's something that's already established, which explains why it was made,
Yeah.
lending to my theory of only existing IP gets made nowadays. However, Millie Bobby Brown is one of these special actresses who comes along every so often, and she just comes in and just does an amazing job every time she performs something. And so I'm looking forward to more of these as they get released in the future. It's a good watch, and it's certainly something. It's on Netflix. You might as well just pop it in and get
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. My biggest issue, I mean, this had a 5.9. I'd probably go a little higher, maybe 6.5.
Yeah, maybe a little bit higher.
But I'm kind of with you. The budget apparently was $320 million dollars. And I think when I
There's
hear
no
that,
reason for that.
yeah, there's no reason for that. And I don't, it just, like you're saying, Chris Pratt probably was 20 million of that. And,
Hey,
you
probably
know,
more.
yeah. But it's just, it's 29 Metascore, not good. It just seems really, really expensive, for what this is. And, unnecessary. But this is an all-star lineup of actors, filmmakers. I mean, Christopher Markus is the writer. He's the one that wrote, you know, Avengers Endgame,
Which is
among
like the best.
among other things. So
And the Russo brothers, let's not.
this is the reteam of them. Yeah, they probably cost a pretty penny. It's probably $100 million was probably all the cast and the names.
It's called Above the Line,
Yeah,
right?
of the
But
lineup.
it has nothing to do with the production itself. This is just what everything else encapsulates.
And this is one of those Netflix films that this is one of their big budget slated. They have the money and they want to spend it to keep showing that they're the premier place to see these type of movies also.
Right. Oh,
Give-
Russo brothers? Yeah, no, no, no. Let's get the Russo brothers. They're right
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
Get
So,
them.
but again, I agree with you. I actually enjoyed this more than I thought I would. I
Yeah.
didn't really have any expectations going into it. Um,
I thought it was cute. I thought there were
yeah.
aspects of it that were really sort of endearing. Like
Yeah.
these little. these little robots that you encounter throughout this production are sweet and they're fun and they're cute and there's meaning behind it. Like you can tell that there was real thought put into this. I just thought that, you could have saved $50 million off the budget right off the bat by not having Chris Pratt in it, and whom I love. I love Chris Pratt
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
everything that he does. And I thought that he was fine in this movie. There's just no reason for him to
Yeah.
be in it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Alto Knights. So this again, this is from the creators of The Godfather, Barry Levinson, Irwin Winkler from Rocky fame. So this, and then it stars Robert De Niro and Deborah Messing. This is the movie. This movie is essentially it's a gangster movie about Frank Costello and Vito Genovese. And then this movie kind of culminates to the Appalachian meeting that where a bunch of mobsters were arrested. So this is a concept I've actually really wanted to write myself. They did this
Oh,
differently than I would have. Um, Robert De Niro obviously is playing both of those guys. So this is a pretty unique film in that sense. He's
he
playing both
plays both?
he plays both Costello and thing, and that
No.
it's a pretty incredible performance for him to do both.
Come on.
I'm very actually curious on how they shot it or what the method was.
Where? I haven't seen this movie out anywhere. Like where?
It wasn't marketed. It got released, last week, and it hasn't been marketed at all. I mean, it's got a 5.8. I think it's higher than that.
Not good.
I like mafia films. This
Me
is
too.
this is a good mafia film. This is not Godfather, or this is not The Godfather or Goodfellas. I don't think it's as good as that, but this is one of the better mafia films that's come out. I like this probably better than The Irishman, only because The Irishman was 4 hours long. Um,
Yeah, the trailer was 38 minutes
but I
for the
mean,
Irish.
this was good. I thought this was a good mafia film. It's shot well. Barry Levinson, I thought, directed this well. It moves.
Who's
Uh,
given us some of the best movies ever.
yeah, this moved very well. I think originally this was supposed to be like a Warren Beatty film, I believe, and then it just never happened. Like I think this was a passion project, but I think I read something like that. Don't quote me on that, um, but again, if you're going to compare this to other ones, I think you're going to take away just from what this film is. I think what I say this film got a 5.8.
5'8".
I think it's in the 6.5 range as well. A lot of these films are solid singles or doubles. I don't think there's any of the films that we're reviewing are home runs. Um, I
No,
think
but however, I would argue that anything directed by Barry Levinson and starring Robert De Niro. I mean, listen to this guy's resume. Okay, Diner, which is classic. The Natural, Young Sherlock Holmes, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Good Morning Vietnam, Rain Man, Bugsy, and then Sphere, which nobody cares about, but it's a super good movie, and Sleepers, which nobody knows about. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. He's an incredible director. I hope I get to see this very soon.
yeah.
I'm actually excited.
Yeah, like I said, I think this movie was solid. Um, I'm not gonna, like I said, I don't want to take away from this film and compare it to the other ones, even though I already did. But
Donnie Brasco, he produced that.
yeah, I definitely want to watch it again. I don't. I'd probably put it on the maybe put it on the same level as Donnie Brasco. I'd
The
have to see.
Godfather 3.
I'd have to watch Donnie Brasco. I need to watch this one again. But like I said, I love the story in general of like what they're trying to do.
Right.
I can't
Anything mafia, I'm in.
I can't say this was executed perfectly,
Sure.
but I've always wanted to watch this story. And so just as a fan of the history and all that, they show a couple of the key like popular murder scenes that we've always seen, like they've done it in film. So there's a lot of things I love about this film. It's not a perfect film, but again, if you're into mafia films, I think it's worth the watch because I think again, this is up there. Um,
Right.
Probably a top 15 mafia film of all time.
Really?
maybe number 10. I don't know. I'd have to like lay them all out when I. But like I said, Robert De Niro, amazing performance, and
Super
I
good.
actually liked how it was shot, the way they put together the scenes. Like there's a lot I liked. So check it out. I recommend it.
I can't wait. Thank you.
All right. Next, we have In the Lost Land. Am I saying that right, Pete?
In the Lost Land.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so this is directed by
The
and
Lost Lands.
In the Lost Lands. Thank you. And this was a movie that Paul, you
Yeah,
texted me like, "Have you seen In the Lost Lands yet?" I'm like, "No, but maybe I should watch it since you're bringing it up, and you haven't even seen it yet."
yeah, no.
So, okay, whatever.
It
That's
was
fine.
only there wasn't that many show times, so if like, you didn't go at this time, it was hard to like
No,
see.
no, no, I get it. So this guy basically directed all of the Resident Evils, which would explain why.
Mila Jovovich is in it.
Thank you. Mila Jovovich is in this as well. He did Alien versus Predator, and then he did the original Mortal Kombat movie, which whatever. We don't talk about that. But he
Like
did
that
a movie called
1990 one.
the '95 one, and so he also did a movie called Event Horizon, which is one of my absolute
Yeah.
favorite movies. Okay, so this movie also stars Dave Bautista. So basically, there's this queen, um, and she sends this sorceress who's called Grey Alice, who is played by Mila Jovovich, to this lost lands, this ghostly wilderness outside of the borders of this little kingdom or whatever. And she's in search of this power that is going to make the queen have the ability to shapeshift into like a wolf or something like that. The person that is guiding her is Dave Bautista. And as I'm watching this movie, which is a thrill ride, it's really well done, shot beautifully, visually, it's stunning. The performances are fantastic. George R. R. Martin is also one of the writers of this thing, and he's the one that wrote all of the Game of Thrones movies, right?
He wrote the original short story.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Um, and so Dave Bautista, I kept thinking throughout this thing. I remember after, I think it was the second, right before the third Guardians of the Galaxy came out, like he came out and he was like, I really need to start doing something different, and I have to start doing something that has value and has purpose. I only want to play characters moving forward that actually kind of do things. And then I remember seeing like his two spy movies and then this movie as well. And
Stuber, was he in Stuber?
yeah, that one too.
I like that
Uh,
one.
and I gotta say, like, I think that he's been true to his word because this is a great performance by him because he's not only badass and is the guide through these lost lands or whatever, but he also has like these very intimate moments throughout the film, and there's several um, where you could really see that he's putting like real effort and time into his acting and his craft. I respect Dave Bautista. He's probably at the top of my list of people that I respect in the industry because he made a decision and he's doing these sort of smaller films and just crushing every time that I see him. The performance in this one, I think, is I don't think I can see another player in this movie besides him because he's now created this sort of visually stunning, awesomely performed, deep character.
Yeah.
Mila Jovovich's character is badass. This is one of my most favorite opening scenes in a movie. Like what she's supposed to be a witch in this film. And if you ever watch this movie, watch the first scene and what she does to the people around her, and how she possesses them because it's something absolutely clever and original. I've never seen it done before. And right off the bat, I'm like, I'm in this movie. This is fantastic. Um, she
Awesome.
does something so awesome in the first 10 minutes of the film that made me even more excited about this film. This is a great film. I
Yeah,
think it only got a 5 on IMDb.
yeah.
That's garbage. Don't listen to that. This is minimum a 6.
Yeah. Yeah, I still want to see this one, only because again,
It's
like
really well done.
a lot of the reasons why you've been saying it. So awesome.
Yeah, it's really well done.
Next, we have Magazine Dreams. This stars Jonathan Majors, pretty much his first film since he kind of lost the King role
Yeah.
from the Avengers world.
What's it called?
Magazine Dreams. And I want to say he actually probably shot this before all the controversy, and it's just getting released because it's got a date of 2023, and that's that's almost 2 years later. So I'm
Mm.
assuming this one got shelved after all this. But this he in this one he's I'll just read you the synopsis. An amateur bodybuilder battles both the limits of his physical body and his own inner demons to gain recognition. Again, 7 on IMDb, uh, 67 on Metascore. This is a really good film, but this is dark and makes you uncomfortable, and
Is it a documentary or is it
no, no,
real?
no. It's real. Yeah. He's acting in it. He's just juiced in this one. Um,
He looks so young.
yeah. Like I said, I think it was shot a couple years ago. But
Hmm.
if you can
Interesting.
handle dark, really dark, I think this movie is fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, um, just be wary, Pete. This may cause triggers because there is some, uh, uh, you know,
Are you,
similarities
are
with
you outing me right now on
no, 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 no,
the
no, no.
air?
I'm saying this is similarity. Like our brother has some very
Ah, okay.
similar
Gotcha.
characteristics. Uh,
Okay.
not he's not the same guy by any stretch of the imagination. I don't want that to also come across that way. But but it's dark, and
It hits
again, like
home.
you're dealing definitely with a lot of his demons. But man, this movie pushes the envelope in a lot of different areas,
I'm
and
curious if it was shot before or after his sort of conviction.
shot before,
It
shot
was
before.
shot before.
Yeah, like I said, the
Wow.
movie's listed as 2023, so I'm almost positive this movie got
It's
shelved for 2 years.
it's crazy because I mean, when Creed 3,
Yeah, he probably did this around that
but
time.
all right,
'Cause
so when Creed 3 came out, I was like, this guy is the next dude
This was
in the
supposed,
industry. Like he's so incredible as an actor, and his body is fucking amazing.
yeah.
Um, and he just looks like he could do anything that he wants. And then all of those stories came out about him where he's just, battling these demons that you're talking about in this
Yeah.
film. And I just hope that I hope that he pays his price and then he gets another chance because he's one of these talents that you don't see this kind of a talent come around very often.
He's
He's
so
one of these guys that is so brilliant.
he's so good in this character.
He's so
Like I
good.
said, he's so good in it that you're
And I'm
uncomfortable.
not condoning what he did.
Um,
However,
so yeah, so upon Searchlight originally was set to release this film on December 8th, 2023, and
oh
then the
wow.
assault allegations and trials plus the 2023 Hollywood strikes, Disney removed the film. Uh,
Disney.
yeah, and then and
Of
then uh,
course.
Briarcliff Entertainment brought the rights in October 2024, and then set a 2025 release date, which is now. So, like I said, if you guys can handle
I'm
very
gonna see it because I love
this
him.
to me,
I do.
if this was released in December, we could be talking about this being nominated for an Oscar.
Mm.
I would put this up against like Nora or some of
Yeah,
these
Nickel
other.
Boys.
This is just as good as Nickel Boys. I don't know if
Really?
or I will. Nickel Boys is really unique,
So
um,
unique.
but this is a and it's a very good look into the bodybuilding industry if you're not like familiar with how it works. But um,
It's almost like our version of Pumping Iron.
yeah, yeah. But this, yeah,
Interesting.
man, this is a really really good film. Like I said, I've been associated with the bodybuilding industry because of my old job at Valuetainment. We did a bunch of interviews with bodybuilders. So like I've become, and I've got to meet Phil Heath and hung out with him many times because I actually did a podcast with him So I'm very familiar with the industry. So it's a really good look into the industry, but then again, just goes in a lot of really interesting directions. So check it
Can't wait
out.
to watch it
I recommend it. By the
for
way,
sure.
I probably put this number one on all the films.
Wow.
This is the only I'd give this film eight, if not eight and a half.
Wow.
I think
I love that.
this movie is very powerful. All right, next we have a movie not rated as high as Magazine Dreams, but it's called Ash. I had no idea what this was, but I saw Isaac Gonzalez, Aaron Paul's in this. Um, Now I don't know who the director is. His name's Flying Lotus. I haven't seen anything he's done.
Love him.
Are you serious? Oh,
No, I have no
no idea
idea.
who this is.
I know that's a pose in yoga, I think.
Yeah, exactly. He was in Date Night apparently. I don't know what for. But anyway,
Okay.
so it was a sci-fi movie. I was like, all right, let me go see this. And basically the synopsis, a woman wakes up on a distant planet and finds the crew of her space station viciously killed. Her investigation of what happened sets in motion a terrifying chain of events. I
It's
think
called
that's
Ash.
Ash, Ash.
Right.
Um, I thought this movie was fairly interesting in the beginning because obviously you just don't know what's happening. Your curiosity definitely is sparked in the beginning. Uh,
Right.
I had kind of a feeling of like an alien in a way.
Mm.
But I just for me this movie just didn't do it for me. I don't, I'm a pretty positive guy, and for me the movie I just don't think the payoff uh, was as good as the setup.
Right.
I felt like the first 50% of this movie was interesting, and then the second half was just like, I was like,
Mm.
I just, I don't know. I felt like it should have kind of went in a different direction. I don't have a solution just because I haven't put a lot of thought into it, but
Yeah,
uh,
I don't find this movie anywhere. How did you see this?
in theater, I saw it with my AMC pass. But yeah,
Up to 3 movies a week.
I just don't think
Huh.
I don't like, I didn't really, at the end of the day, once everything was kind of figured everything out, I didn't really like like the setup.
Mm.
If that makes sense, or like the world they built. It,
Right.
it just didn't have like to me it was like a poor man's, and I'm a really poor man, like Interstellar.
Movie
Like
both.
I thought it could be like an Interstellar and an Alien kind of combined, and
Right.
it didn't. I don't think it built the world big enough and why we're here. Even Passengers kind of felt a little bit like Passengers with Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, yeah. Which wasn't phenomenal.
I like that movie though.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
But it
I'm
wasn't Interstellar. I mean, let's be
no, no,
honest.
no. Interstellar is way up there, but I'm saying
Right,
like
yeah, but if you compared it, right?
Passengers, it had a similar premise to Passengers, where it's like it's kind of a mystery. Uh,
Sure.
anyways, it just didn't. I feel like have enough in it to kind of carry the movie. So yeah,
That's all right.
I don't actually recommend this movie. This is probably the only movie I don't really recommend.
You don't usually not recommend movies.
Yeah, I just came out of the movie disappointed. Like
Yeah.
it, I wasn't entertained. And,
Listen, they can't all be winners, Paul. I mean,
yeah.
that's the reality of it.
But if you're a mad sci-fi guy,
You might love it.
you might, I wouldn't go love it, but you might enjoy
I
the
enjoy it.
journey. You might enjoy the journey when it's on streaming. To me, this
Sure.
is like a streaming movie. I mean, it's probably not going to do that well anyway. But all right, Pete, and then lastly, we'll do the last breath. We've already reviewed it. I've already gave you my take.
I know.
Go ahead.
And I'll just really fast. And if you haven't seen Last Breath yet, I mean, I would definitely see it only because, I mean, you get some really great performances by Woody Harrelson and by Finn Cole. And I remember seeing Finn Cole pop up in this movie, and I'm like, I know him from somewhere. He's in Peaky Blinders, or Peaky Binders. He plays a phenomenal role. He's an incredible actor, and I love that he's gotten a role like this. Um, I was completely under a different impression of what this movie was supposed to be about. I thought it was literally going to be about like Woody Harrelson's character staying behind while everyone else goes to safety, and he only has like one last breath in order to survive. It has nothing it's not even close to that.
You know how you got there.
What I mean, because I saw like a couple of trailers and that's how it was played out. So I'm watching this movie and within like 30, 45 minutes, the main character of this movie, spoiler,
Spoiler alert.
is like virtually dead. And so I'm already halfway through this movie. I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, dude, there's no way because we still have another 45 minutes. Um, Movies like this that are underwater, claustrophobic, like The
Yeah,
Abyss,
yeah,
like these kind of movies, they always grip me to the point where they end up being like some of my favorite movies. I thought that I was gripped throughout this film.
yeah,
Um, I think Woody Harrelson's fantastic. His role was, even though it was a bigger role, it was so minor, but when he spoke, there was value.
yeah,
Um, and I thought that what he did was absolutely incredible. And I thought the entire cast was fantastic. Even that the little tiny roles were very significant. I recommend this movie highly.
yeah,
So
yeah.
good.
Yeah, obviously I do too. One other note on Ash, just because I saw a review that popped up. So 63 on Metascore. That's crazy. 15 reviews. Um, but one of them says it's a B movie operating at the highest levels of craftsmanship, intrigue, and performance. I actually think that's kind of a fair review of that
Hmm.
because it did feel like a B movie, but it was well done. Like the lighting was good. There was intrigue. Like I said, I didn't overly like the world that it created. I think if they improved on that, this was an A-level movie. So, and the performance I did think were good though. I, I
Right.
I do like Isa Gonzalez. I thought she did a good job in this. So, anyways, all right. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for this week, guys. Uh,
Great.
thank you for tuning in. Next week we got three new ones coming out. We have Death of a Unicorn, stars Paul Rudd and
Jenna Ortega
Jenna Ortega.
was fantastic.
We have A Working Man. That's the new Jason Statham movie by the guys that
Love
did
him.
Beekeeper, which we liked. So I'm
Right.
looking forward to that one. And then the last one, Pete. This one looks freaky. The Woman in the Yard.
Yeah, I love this.
I
I
don't
can't wait
get
for that one. If I can find that one in my theater near me, I will watch it soon. There's also a sneaky, quiet movie that nobody's talking about with Bill Murray and Naomi Watts called The Friend that's being released as well.
okay.
That would be something that would be very interesting. Um,
Well,
so,
I don't. Is it out?
well, it's on
Oh, The
IMDb
Friend.
releases for today, March
Oh,
20,
Naomi Watts. I did see.
28th.
I did see a preview for that one. That actually looks pretty good. Yeah, I'll try to
Yeah.
see it too. I'm gonna have to use one of my. I'll have to go on Tuesday and go see it discounted at AMC to because that'll be four
Where
movies.
you can see up to 3 films a week,
I might have to go see a couple matinees there on the
plus
two.
other benefits.
Yeah. All right. So yeah. So we got a nice week next week ahead of us. Again, make sure you please like, share, subscribe. And with that, Pete, that is a cut. Thanks, guys.